Video's a long time coming, I think. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit into my first month of breaking up with my phone. So on January 15th, 2023, I said goodbye to all of my social media apps on my phone and I deleted them all. Now, working in social media and in content creation, it meant that I couldn't break up with it completely, but I just needed it off my phone. So I took everything off my phone and put it on my work laptop and my work iPad. I documented some of the journey throughout the process, but I figured I'd do a sit-down video as well, kind of explaining where I was and where I am now. It is currently January 15th, and this is the first official day where I don't have any social media on my phone. It's been a couple of days since I deleted Instagram, and I didn't really miss it at all. And yesterday I did a lot of really fun stuff over the weekend. Colton's out of town, so whenever I'm by myself, I'm very introspective, and I get to do all of my favorite things. Went for a walk, took a bath, read my book, but I still found myself on TikTok way too much for my liking, and it just made me feel icky. So I made the decision to delete it. I deleted Facebook, I deleted YouTube off my phone, so there is probably the only social media on my phone right now is BeReal, because BeReal is just something that once you do it once a day, and then once you've seen it. There's really nothing new to it. So I don't really have a problem with over consuming BeReal, which is why I kind of like BeReal a lot, because you get to see what your friends are doing, and it's just one thing. So that's probably the only social media I have on my phone, and I'm really excited. Today has been actually pretty good. I do find myself going towards my phone and then realizing that there's not much that I can consume on my phone. I can listen to a podcast, I can listen to music, and that's it. I can only do audio related things. I can't be really looking at my screen, which is kind of weird, but ultimately very refreshing. I can still consume content the way I'd like to, but just not in the way that I'm used to. It is February 8th. We are now at 3.5 weeks of no social media on my phone. And I feel like the hardest times are when I'm alone at the house, because I just feel more of the urge. So I feel like I had to share this, because for some reason it was pretty easy, because I could get distracted very easily for the first couple of weeks, and I still have social media on my iPad and on my computer. I just don't tend to pick it up as much as I would for my phone, because it's just easily available. So I was just listening to music. I'm making dinner right now. Colton's out, so I feel a much bigger urge to just get my iPad and go on social media. But when I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock, and I want to make it a point that I'm not on TikTok so much, because if I do go on TikTok for the fun of it and not for work, I tend to just binge it. And I don't know, I think in just times of stress as well, this is, for any sort of addiction, when you're feeling overwhelmed or when you're feeling stressed, the urge tends to get to you a little bit easier, quicker. This is our last week before going to Europe, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous. I'm feeling stressed that I'm forgetting something or something's gonna happen. So that's kind of I feel that's where the urge is coming from. So yeah. So last year I made a video on how I simplified my life in a couple steps, and I knew this step was coming for me because it was the biggest nuisance in my life. I found myself on my phone constantly, and it really affected the way that I worked during the day, and it affected how I woke up, how I went to bed. It really just affected everything. My mood was very much up and down with how I was feeling when I was on social media. I knew that I needed to make a change. Some people get self-help books whenever they're feeling like they're at rock bottom, and I am one of those people. I did get a book that was called How to Break Up with Your Phone. I downloaded it on Audible. I listened to the first couple of chapters and I immediately just went to the chapters that were relevant to me. And the one thing that really stood out to me in that was that you can simply delete the social media off your phone and that you can use your computer. And I know that sounds really stupid and easy, but I was like, that is true. And I always rationalized that I had to keep the social media on my phone because I would miss out on something. This was my livelihood, this was my job. I had to check in on my clients, I had to check in on maybe some potential customers that would reach out to me on Instagram. And so I thought to myself, I still needed it on my phone. There was no going around it because I still needed to create on it. And then it made me realize that in order to break this bad habit of always going on it, I needed to make it more difficult for myself. So instead of having it always on my phone where I can film and go straight to Instagram or straight to TikTok, I would film on my phone and then transfer all of the footage onto my iPad. So then I can start creating on my iPad. That little extra step allows me to not want to go on it and only go on it when it's necessary. Yes, do I probably miss out on some things? Maybe I'll post on my stories a little bit less, but I feel like my content creation is a little more intentional now. The little extra time I need to create and then transfer and go on my laptop or my iPad is way, way less than the time that I would spend mindlessly scrolling, and I wouldn't even realize that the time has passed. Some moments in the first few weeks were difficult, but I found it surprisingly easy because I found myself wanting to occupy my time. It was actually a pretty busy time for me. I went to Florida in that time, and then I prepped for my trip to Europe, which is where I am now. It has now been a month and a half, and I feel like the biggest differences for me are the mornings and my productivity at work. So in the mornings, I feel like I would go on my phone right away, right when I wake up, and everyone and their mother says that's really bad for you because you get intake of information right away and you don't have time to just collect your thoughts. And so I feel like that was the biggest difference for me. And then for my productivity, which was really, really important to me, this is something that I really needed to focus on. And I feel like it has made a significant difference in my life and a significant shift where I can decide when I am working. Obviously, there are some moments where I feel a little bit distracted, and that's when I feel like, oh, maybe I should be taking a break. It has made a really big difference in terms of how long I can work because I'm not taking constant breaks on my phone, and I don't feel so overloaded at the end of the day because I took in so much information from social media as well as work at the same time. So it has made a really big difference. Now that we're in Europe, we've kicked up the content creation up a notch, so I think I'll be able to give another update in a few months on how the whole creation process works without having any of the social media on my phone, but I think in the end it'll definitely be worth it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.